Okay, good morning,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome to this week's Wednesday class. Kat's going to be on the chat. Kat of Kat's Kitchen
Yeah,
fame.
I'm glad you liked
Yeah,
it.
your miso soup recipe sweeping the globe
Yeah.
now. It's like a massive
Yeah.
hit. It's so brilliant. Okay, I'm just going to say hi in the chat to everyone. If you'd just like to say hi as well and where you're from, and then we'll go straight into the scanning and straight into this week's class. So, I guess it's quite an exciting time at the moment, energy-wise, because we've got wow, from Istanbul. How about that? If you can, hi there. Yeah, it's quite an interesting time energy-wise because a lot of us are in the second lockdown. I know we are here at the Shiatsu Centre, which means that we're only letting clients in if they pass our risk assessment. So we're seeing far fewer clients face-to-face or to actually press them. But we're going back to more online support. And this Wednesday class is a really essential part of that. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to do things a little bit differently this week. We're going to follow on from what we did last week, which is finding out how your energy is with a whole body scan. And the reason we're going to do that is because what we're doing is we're zeroing now on the kind of imbalances that we've got as a group. And what I'll do is, as we go through the exercise class, I'll give you some hints of some points and techniques that will suit exactly what you need. Okay, so let's start off by doing a full whole body scan, and then we can draw it. If you've got your pen and paper ready, I've got mine. I can't wait to see what's happening with me this week. So let's do that immediately. I'm going to just create some space. You can do this sitting down or standing up. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it standing up. Just want to get a bit of movement in and shake out a bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to stand or sit nice and comfortably just for a moment. And we're going to just bring our awareness above our head and we're going to scan down through our whole body and really get in touch with how we're feeling. As we go through the class today, as we go through the exercises, we'll be able to work directly on how energy's set up, how we're feeling, and hopefully have some ideas that we can take forward into the next week. So let's do it right now. We can stand, feet shoulder width apart, nice and relaxed, tuning in above our head, and then slowly scanning down through our body. And maybe keep your eyes closed to do this, and just become aware of the top of our head, and become aware of the whole of our head, down through our eyes, our ears, jaw, and then scanning into our neck. Pay particular attention to the back, the sides and the front of your neck, and just see what that feels like. Do you feel any different? Okay, then we're going to go down through our shoulders, okay, down into the chest area. Let's go down our arms, just see how our shoulders are, how our elbows, wrists and hands are. Okay, and then we go down through our chest area, through the heart and lungs. Also tune into your back as well, into your upper back. And then down through the diaphragm, down into the abdomen, and we're going to scan down through our lower back and into our hips. Okay, and then down through our legs, down through our knees and our calves, our lower legs, down into our feet. Okay, excellent. So now let's just spend a minute just reflecting on that whole experience. You might find certain areas that most need work. Maybe they feel more tired or more blocked. And now we're going to just take a minute to just do a quick drawing or write down how we feel. Okay, as a whole, and just kind of remember what we did as we scanned down. I'm going to do mine right here, writing down the most important things that I noticed. And maybe if you were here last week, you can remember how you felt last week. Okay, while we're doing that, I'm going to get the next, get the slide up, and yeah, we've just done a body scan, and I'm going to run a poll in a minute, just to see what our overall level of energy is, and let's just see if we've made any improvement or any change on last week. Okay, because the poll I'm interested in is how your energy is, or how you think you're doing overall. Okay. There's 5 categories, and they're going to influence how we do the exercises, and particularly which points we can use, and what kind of techniques we can use. So it's kind of important to figure this out. So basically, if you're feeling you're doing pretty well, generally balanced, you can check the first answer. And then there's 4 different categories. You might be feeling more blocked, maybe tight somewhere, obstructed, or generally you might be feeling more tired or weak. You might be feeling agitated, maybe a bit hot, or you might be feeling cold and frozen. Okay, so I'm going to run that poll and see what the group is like as a whole. Let's just hope the poll works, which it does. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just see. Last week we had, I think, about 40% blocked or obstructed. And let's just see what we're getting this week. In fact, I think we had more people hot and agitated last week. I think because the shock of the second wave was still affecting us. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that information. We really need to look after ourselves. We're up 2% from last week. We've got up 3% on feeling generally balanced. So that's an improvement. We want to improve on that. And same as last week, by far, the majority of you feel blocked or obstructed. And that's followed up by being tired or weak. So we're going to tweak the exercises to do that. So again, just so that we can focus ourselves in a little bit more, we're going to do our 3 heater tuning in. So we've tuned into the whole body, and now we're going to tune into the 3 heaters, and we can use that information to tweak the exercises. Are you ready? Okay, so all you need to do now is, I'll just take this off so you can see what I'm doing. All I'm doing is I'm just literally drawing 3 zones like this. And we're going to tune into each of the 3 zones, one after the other, and see how we do. So let's do the lower burner first. And I'll stand up, I think. This lower burner is this area here. It's all around into the lower back. Okay, so we're just going to stand and tune into that lower burner. Just relax. We're going to ask, how does this area, this lower abdomen area, what is it like? Okay, now what it should feel like is it should feel kind of quite calm, quite solid and strong all the way round, okay? So let's see how we did. I'm going to draw in my lower burner picture right here. Okay, and if you were here last week or previous weeks, it's good to just kind of remember, see how we've done as the weeks have gone on. Okay, time for the middle burner. The middle burner, or middle burning space, is this space here below the diaphragm. So it's below the diaphragm, from the navel all the way round and into this lower thoracic part of the spine. So it's this kind of area here in the middle of the body. Let's just spend a few moments just closing our eyes and tuning into that middle burner area. Okay, now what is that like? Open our eyes and draw a picture here of the middle burner. Ideally, that should feel quite open, quite flexible. Don't really want it to be too hot or too cold. That's where most of the digestive organs are, the liver and the stomach. You can write a few words in. I'm just going to write a few words in here. Okay, and it's been very exciting, very interesting to see over the last 40 or so weeks how the different burners have changed in their importance as different kind of emotions and shocks and things have happened to us as a community as we've gone through the different waves of the pandemic. So let's check out on the upper burner now. That's going to be right on the top there. Okay, this is the whole lung area. It includes the upper back, and it's this area here. We've got the heart and the lungs. Okay, let's check out what that feels like. What is it like? We're going to close our eyes. We're going to go internally. And we're going to just explore internally just that internal space there of the upper burner. Again, the Chinese classics tell us that it should feel like a mist. It should feel like it's open, kind of moist, definitely not hot, and definitely not kind of obstructed in any way. So how does your upper burner figure compared to what the Chinese classics have told us? Okay, so now looking at your picture, I'm going to run our poll. I'm going to run our 3-burner poll, and we'll see how we're doing as a group, because we've had some dramatic changes in the burners. Which burner would you like to work on most today? You just got to pick one. Okay, I'm going to run the poll now. Let's just hope it's okay. Let's see what happens, because we've seen some very dramatic changes in this over the last few weeks. And in fact, last week we had a massive move back from the upper to the middle burner. And it looks like the upper burner is starting to edge in a bit more now. And we've got a little bit more lower burner. I think last week it was quite low, around 10%. And we've got more, definitely more lower burner and definitely more upper burner. In fact, it's looking more evenly distributed than it has before. And so we can use that when we do the exercises. Okay, so I've got point of the week coming up later. I'm really excited about point of the week. It's one that we've actually used many times in the class because it's an awesome point. And I'm going to show you that quite early on in the exercise. Let's just have a look back here. Okay, now because we've got, if you're a Shiatsu practitioner and you're interested in Chinese medicine, you'll notice that the first poll tells us what the underlying energy condition is. Obviously, if we're talking about blocks and obstruction, we need to move energy. And if we're tired and weak, we need to obviously tonify our energy up. If we're hot, we need to cool down and chill out, okay? And if we're cold or frozen, we need to warm up. Luckily, a lot of the points that we're going to use have dual actions. They're homeostatic, so they will do whatever we need. But what we're going to do today is we're going to do the similar thing that we did last week when we found out there was so much obstruction going on. We're going to do quite a bit of shaking and loosening because that's the best way to work on blocked and obstructed energy. So let's do that right now. We're going to just scan it down again, make sure that we get in touch with where we're obstructed if we are, okay? If you're tired, if you're feeling generally tired and not too blocked, then just take it nice and easy. You want to keep it really easy, keep the shaking really easy, okay? And that way it'll just gently stimulate your energy. But if you're feeling a bit obstructed, then we will need to really start shaking and moving out any of these obstructions. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, and if you're hot or cold, then it doesn't matter. Just keep it nice and easy, and we'll put some points in for you later on in the class. Okay, so we're going to work down systematically, and we're going to identify some really common areas of obstruction. And one of the first places as we go down the body here is the jaw. So let's just place our hands around the jaw. These are some of the points that we use in Shiatsu to treat jaw issues, all around this area here. So we're going to do some gentle acupressure here around here. And we're just going to make sure that these muscles are not getting really tight, maybe grinding your teeth or holding the jaw in tension. So if we work around these points here, just around these areas here and down through the jaw. And as we do that, we're going to just loosen up the jaw, opening up the jaw, and just shaking it open. Okay, we're shaking it open, and we're going to get that shaking feeling to slowly work down the body and shake out any obstruction that we might have. Okay. If you're feeling a bit tired and low energy, keep the shaking really gentle and just let each part of your body connect. If you're feeling a bit more blocked, you're going to shake it a little bit stronger and really try and get rid of some of that tension that we're holding there. Okay, now we're just going to let the neck just free up a bit. Imagine that we're bouncing with our golden thread here. And then we're going to get down into the shoulders. Releasing the shoulders. Creating some space in our arm, in our shoulder joints. So just imagine there's some space there. In Qi Gong, they recommend that we imagine we've got an egg underneath our armpit because that opens up the shoulders. So let's put an egg under our armpit and then shake. Okay, very good. You can imagine there's that tension shaking out down our arms, down through our elbows, through our wrists, and down into the floor. Okay, here's a question I had from a client just yesterday. She said she was doing the class. She said she was tired, but as she did the shaking, she felt better. Okay, so if you feel tired and you feel better for shaking and better for movement, it's probably not that you're weak, it's probably that you're actually obstructed and you just need more movement. So you can test that out. If you feel better for going for a run or going for a walk or for shaking, even though you're tired, it could be that tiredness caused by obstruction. So that's just something to bear in mind when you're working on assessing how you can best look after yourself, okay? In fact, very much similar thing happened to me last week when I was feeling a little bit tired. I kept sleeping, I didn't feel any better. I went for a run and I felt much better. And that's because it must have been some obstruction there. Okay, so we're going to keep shaking. We've got it all down our fingertips, yeah? Okay, feel nice and open here. And let's now work on the rib cage. We're just going to shake it. I'll just show you, if you shake it this way. See if you can loosen up the rib cage. Okay, very good. Now we're down to the diaphragm now. Let's give our internal organs a bit of a shake. Get them a little bit looser. Relax them. Okay, so we're relaxing the abdomen. And we're going down into our hips now. Really big joint. That's often gets stiff. Okay, so let's do some shaking down there. Make some sounds. Get that shaking all the way down through the hips. Good, we're down to the knees now. Shake out the knees. Shake out the ankles. Okay, now if you're feeling in the cold category, this will be good because it will move your body and increase the warmth and circulation. Okay, and if you're feeling a bit agitated, blocked, you know, like this. Okay, let's just check in again. We've got like 5% feeling hot and agitated. Then how you can modify this exercise is to shake your energy down into your feet, kind of getting the energy away from your head like this. Okay, so these exercises are good for all kinds of things. You can just tweak them a bit for what you actually need yourself. Okay, excellent. Right, let's see. Tuning in again. Let's just scan down quickly. Feel a little bit looser, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more connected with the earth. A very good start. Okay, so shaking is really, really useful for that. Okay, we'll do some more work for obstruction in a moment. But first of all, one of the best things we can do to manage our stress levels, and we need that at the moment, everyone, is to check our breathing, okay? And the classic thing that happens when we get anxious, we read the news too much, is the breathing starts to go higher and higher in the body, and we get this kind of feeling, okay? Well, thousands of years ago, it was exactly the same, and they came up with the whole idea of abdominal breathing, okay? It's not that the air goes down there, it doesn't really go down there, but it feels like it goes down there because we relax the diaphragm, which allows the breath to go deeper into the lungs. And we now know through research that that's a really important thing to regulate the nervous system. It's probably the simplest thing we can do to regulate our nervous system. So let's do that, okay? Rubbing our hands together. We're going to place them over the Dantian point. This is the magical point in Qi Gong, just below the navel here, around here. Place our palm, center of our palm, right over that area. Okay, and we're going to bring our awareness down there, which again will enable us to relax the diaphragm and bring the breathing down into the lower abdomen. Okay, so here we go. We're going to relax our shoulders, open up our feet, open up that kidney 1 point, connecting us with the earth. And then let's really relax our breathing. We're going to take a really deep breath down, relaxing the diaphragm. And if you've got it right, you should feel this slightly going outwards, slightly expands outwards because your diaphragm's dropping down and your internal organs are spreading out here in a really relaxed way. Okay, we're going to hold the breath, hold it, relax the shoulders, slowly breathe out. And as the breath comes out, we imagine that the breath or the energy from the breath is staying beneath our hands, okay? Let's try it again, okay? We're going to breathe in. Bring the breath down into the lower dantian, into this area here. Keep our awareness here. Imagine the breath is still staying here and just the air is coming out. So the energy we bring in kind of stays here and the breath goes out. Slowly out. As you relax, what happens is the nervous system kind of calms down. Very good for the hot and agitated people and for the obstructed people. We want to kind of chill out here, okay? Let's try it another time. So breathing in. Imagine energy or light coming in with the breath. We're going to hold it here below the navel and we're going to breathe out. Slowly breathe out and feel that relaxation and the calming feeling of the exhalation right through our bodies. Very good. Okay, let's just do a couple more. Breathing in. And breathing out. Slowly keep our attention here. Feel that relaxation in your whole body as the breath comes out. Okay, one more. Keep those feet on the ground, keep connected to the earth. Breathing in. Hold it. Become aware of the breath, or the energy from the breath here, and breathe out. Relax. Breathe out. As we relax, the whole body starts releasing. The nervous system's calming down, and we're becoming more centered. Okay, and we're just going to come back to that as we do the exercise class. Just keep that breathing nice and even, keep that out breath nice and long, and that will keep regulating our nervous system, and it will help all different aspects of the balance. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to do a little bit of stimulation of that point. This point's here, okay, the Dantian points, and we're going to do the breathing, and we're going to activate the point just by rotating our hands. Okay, and as we do that, we're going to keep the shoulders relaxed. Imagine energy coming down the hands, down the arms, into the hands, and into this area here. We're imagining it going through into the back. Okay, so feet shoulder width apart. Keep those arms really relaxed. And become aware of our breathing. As we're breathing in, we're bringing that energy or that light, imagining it coming in with the breath. That's it. And as we're breathing out, we're relaxing and imagining energy down our arms into this point here. So imagine it kind of coming down through here and into this area here. The idea is we're trying to get this area nice and warm and activated. Okay, very good. Okay, so now we're going to switch and we're going to work on our feet. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that we get really good, nice connection with the earth. So just check in, see what your feet feel like, see how grounded you feel. And then I'll just switch the camera around and we can do some work on our feet. Just lift up the camera and point it downwards. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, here we go. Right, so if you remember from previous weeks, one of the most important points on the body is the famous kidney 1 point, which is on the sole of the foot. And really what we want to do is activate the feet. You can do the sitting down, warming the feet up, and we're just going to do some doing. We're doing just some percussion here, energizing the feet. Okay, in Chinese medicine terms, the kidney 1 point is like the root of the kidney energy. So it's like it tonifies the yin of the body. So this is particularly good for hot and agitated people, particularly good for them. For those of us in the group who feel a bit heady and things like that. And if you do get hot or agitated during the week, you can just spend 5 minutes just working on your feet, tapping kidney 1, and that will bring your attention away from your head, and it'll just have a very calming effect on your body as a whole. Okay, the kidney energy is much more than just the kidney organ in Western medicine. In Chinese medicine, the kidneys are more related to the adrenal system, our genetic inheritance, and all kinds of other parts of the anatomy and physiology of the body are all put together under the category of the kidney energy. That's a really important one to work. Stretching here, pressing my fingers into kidney 1, opening up my feet. I don't know about your feet, but mine are a little bit cold this morning. It's very frosty here in Norwich. So let's get these feet really nice and warm. Okay, excellent. Put my sock back on immediately. Get this foot a bit warmer, and I'm tapping away here. Let's come around this side. Tapping away on the foot. Okay, I'm just building up to point of the week here because I'm very excited about point of the week. We've actually often used it in these classes because it is a major point in the body, and so I thought we'd nip down to the feet, start working on the kidney channel, and then we'll go back up and work on point of the week. Let's get these feet really warmed up. Let's get this kidney 1 point nice and energized. Okay, now if you're feeling cold and frozen, it's a good idea to get all this warmed up, because the kidney, in Chinese medicine, the kidneys are also, as we'll find out with point of the week, also connected to the warming of the body. And the kidney energy is supposed to be the root of all the yin and yang of the body. So it's all the cooling and all the warming aspects of the body. So it's a kind of really important thing to get this whole thing really energized. I think we're going to feel the difference as soon as we put our socks back on and stand up again. We'll feel that difference in terms of the connection that we have with the floor. So let's just get the camera back in the right place. Yeah. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so we're going to go back here, and how does that feel? Okay, notice how much easier it is to feel the floor. So our feet are nice and stimulated and open. Feel that connection down into the earth. So next thing is, and this is really good for calming and regulating, is to bring the breath into here, into the dantian again. Let's just do a couple of breaths, breathing into here. Okay, and then as we breathe out slowly, we imagine the breath going down through our feet and into the earth. Okay, let's just try that a couple of times. Okay, isn't that a great feeling? Doesn't that feel like we're kind of really solid on the ground now? And notice what happens to our upper bodies. It naturally relaxes. Okay, and that's the principle of Chinese medicine of treating the opposite end of the problem. So if you've got too much energy in the head, you feel like you're going crazy, you start hitting your feet or putting an acupuncture needle in if that's what you're into. Okay, so look, here we are. Point of the week. Got it on these slides here, down here somewhere. Point of the week. Dun, dun, dun. One of my favorite points of all time, and it's bladder 23. And this is the best picture I found of it. A lot of the pictures on the internet, warning here, are a little bit inaccurate. I'll tell you exactly where you can find it. It's really important because it's the shoe point, or it's the point that directly goes into the kidneys. And look what it does, everyone. It tonifies the yang, especially for you cold people there, okay? And you block people because you want more movement. So if you're blocked and cold, you probably want more movement, especially if you're cold. Benefits the essence, that's the underlying energy of the body. So if you're feeling tired, it's really important to benefit your essence. But also it nourishes the yin. So if you're feeling a bit hot and agitated, this, a bit like kidney 1 that we just did, it nourishes the yin, but it's also good for lumbar pain as well. So if you've got any back pain, you need to work it, then that's a really good idea. Okay, so it's a super useful point. We love it, and we're going to build it into a little bit of the routine right now. Okay, really excited about this. Okay, so here we go. So we've energized the front of the dantian, but bladder 23, or the kidney shoe point, is the really good point for doing a similar thing on the back. And this is how you find it, okay? It's actually between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, a little bit difficult to figure out where it is when you're feeling yourself. Best thing to do is to go from the narrowest point of the waist and go backwards, right into the middle of the lumbar vertebrae here. And it's right in this area here. Right here, in the middle of the waist, right in the middle of the lumbar vertebrae. Okay, so let's just not worry too much about exactly the location, because if you get in a whole area there, it's going to be really, really good. So let's rub our hands together. And there's different ways of stimulating the point. Sometimes you see it done like this. Very energizing with my palm of my hand right over the point. If it's too much for your shoulders, you might prefer to do this. Okay, and let's just feel the effects of it as we do it. So keep the shoulders relaxed. See if you can feel an energizing feeling in the whole body. Should be kind of calming as well. But also it connects directly with the lower burner and with the essence. So by working this point, by stimulating this point, we're basically helping this whole lower burner area right through from here right into here. Okay, we love this point. Okay, now if we're talking about it helping and strengthening the lumbar vertebrae, it's probably a good idea to continue down the bladder channel, which runs right down the back of the legs and into the feet. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to stimulate this point, bladder 23, and then we're going to go down here into the sacrum. And we're just rubbing this area here right around the sacrum. So we're going from here down the lumbar muscles and into around the hips and the sacrum. Okay, and now we're going to do some doing. Okay, tapping right into the buttock area and around the sacrum. And then we're going down the backs of the legs. Right down the backs of the calves. See what I'm doing? I'm putting the backs of my hands here and tapping down the backs of the calves like this. Okay, so let's go up here. rubbing here, circles, energizing, and going down the back of the legs. Okay, very good. Just shaking out the legs. Okay, bouncing up and down a little bit. Okay, so now check this out. Okay, if you just relax, can you feel this kind of warm, glowing feeling in your back, going right down through, down into the lower back? And also, you probably feel it creeping up the back, that feeling, and giving strength into the whole back. Works really well in combination with bladder 10 that we did last week. Okay, excellent stuff. Okay, so let's progress. We've done loads on the lower burner now, so we should be feeling nice and solid here and connected to the earth. So we better look after the middle and the upper burners. We're going to do that by just doing some palpation around here. Just notice any stiffness or anything else around here that you need to work on, all around the middle burner. This is Anpuku therapy. It's like working the abdomen. Directly. Okay. And let's just check out how our swinging is doing, okay? So for those of you with obstruction or even tiredness, this is really important to get the middle burner nice and freed up. Okay, if you're feeling cold, again, if it's sort of frozen and cold here, you want to get this warm. And if you're feeling hot, you want to calm it down, bring everything down into the feet. We've opened up this axis way. So now let's just work on that middle burner. Keep your knees pointing forwards and twist from the middle burner, keeping it nice and relaxed. Let's feel that all the way through into the back. Very good. Okay, and if you're feeling really obstructed around there, you want to really swing it a little bit stronger. And then you can incorporate some dough in by, as you get to the end of the stretch, end of the movement, we can just tap the sides of the body like this if you want to turbocharge it, make it a bit stronger. Okay? Or you can just keep it nice and chilled out and turn it like this. Okay, it's looking good, looking good. Okay, excellent. Okay, so now let's do some dough-in for the channels that relate to the middle burner. So they're the stomach and the gallbladder channels, basically, and the liver and the spleen meridian. So we're going to tap these down. And we're going to work, first of all, on the front of the legs. So again, it's very good for obstruction. Dough-in is very good for moving energy, warming it up, and for obstruction. So let's go down the outside of the legs. Okay. And if you want to make it a bit more sophisticated, keep your attention here in the middle burner and just see if you can find anywhere down these channels where you can feel a connection and movement here. I've got one right here, famous stomach 36. We'll come along to that point later on in the cycle of the meridians. Down onto the feet and then up the inside of the legs. Okay, and then down the outside of the legs, just keep it moving. Up the inside, and down the outside. Okay, very good. Okay, now keep it moving. We're going to go around onto the buttocks. We go down the outside of the legs. Again, keeping our attention into this middle burner here. See if you can find any places that you feel really good. Got one around here. Okay, what you can sometimes feel is you just feel it kind of moving a bit and releasing here. And you know you've hit on some trigger point there. So try and find it around the knees is always a good place to investigate. And then up the inside of the legs. And then down the outside. Okay, just keeping the tuning into here, this middle burner. right down the outside of the legs. Excellent. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to just release. And a bit more shaking. Okay, awesome. Okay, now let's check in again. Wow, doesn't that feel good? Okay, you feel how your legs feel kind of activated, even more connection with the earth, and nice and feeling of this just starting to really open and relax. If you've got stagnation and obstruction and you feel the middle burner is the one you want to work on, these exercises are really great. It's really important to keep this really open. Emotionally, it tends to be associated with anxiety and frustration. There's lots of that around. So it's always a good idea to keep the middle burner open. Okay, great. So now, time to move on to the upper burner, which was, if I remember rightly, in fact, it was the winner at the end of the poll with 1% higher upper burner. So that's a big change from last week, where we had the middle burner really returned as by far the biggest one. The upper burner is more to do with grief, loss, shock, things like that. Associated with the heart and the lungs. So maybe that's an indication of the second wave really taking a bite now. So let's keep this upper burner nice and open. Be kind to ourselves. Really keep that connection. It's this connection here with the heart that we miss most when we don't see people. So we need to look after ourselves and make as much connection as we can. So let's check in and see what kind of things are going on in our upper burner. And here's some, excuse me, I'm a bit dry, I think it's the central heating. Let's try some tests and see which channels we need to work on. So if we go up like this, breathe in. Okay. And stretch back with the thumbs like this. That's the lung channel. Okay. Now, if you feel that's kind of tight or maybe weak or uncomfortable to do that, that indicates that that lung channel needs work, and that's the one for the breathing and for kind of grief, loss, sadness, maybe separation issues. In Chinese medicine, that's the associations with those. Now, if we stretch out this way, stretch out towards the middle finger, this is the pericardium channel. And that one, if that feels stiff, maybe through into here, that's often related to emotional protection, things like that, relationships, things like that. Okay, and then if we do this stretch, we lift our hands up and stretch open up our elbows like this, and stretch backwards like this, opening up the elbows. If that feels tight, that's more the heart channel, and that's kind of more the deeper emotional side of things. It's also associated closely with shock and trauma and things like that. So we want to try and get this whole upper burner nice and open and calm. And we can do that with some Doan techniques. So let's go. Okay, let's work on that, on those lungs. So sounds like I could do that right now, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use some sounds, if you don't mind the neighbours or anyone else in the house who's probably trying to homework, and you're going to start going, oh, I wonder what the hell is going on. It doesn't matter. We're going to go right into this area here, which is where the lung channel emerges from the body. And we're going down towards the thumb. Okay, and we're going to go back up along this outside front of the arm. This is the large intestine channel. It's the yang channel that's paired with the lung. It's just a way of getting back up to here again, and then we're going to go whoa. Down towards the thumb. Okay, we do the same sort of thing. If you tune into this upper heater here, notice anywhere that feels like it's releasing. I've got one right here near the elbow. Feel just your breathing opening up a little bit more. That's the action of the points that you're feeling there. Okay, and that's what we're doing all the time when we're doing shiatsu, is we're kind of feeling for connections like that, feeling for movement in the body. That's why we stop in certain points, because we're tuning in. That's how we do it. And you can do it for yourself using this Doin technique. Okay, so I'm tuning in here. I'm seeing how this feels. I'm going down like this. If I like somewhere, I'm just going to spend a little bit longer on doing that in a particular area there. And go down to the thumbs. Okay, excellent. So that's one arm done with the lungs. Let's do the other side. And I'm going down towards the thumb. And back up along here, along the outside front of the arm. Okay, one more time. Okay, very good. Okay, let's do a bit more shaking. We're going to shake out the lungs here and just lean forwards, open up the armpits again, and just shake the arms down, particularly releasing the upper part of the thoracic spine, this part of the spine here. It's called the thoracic spine because it's connected to the thorax, to the lungs. So when you breathe, it all moves. At least it should move. And if it's not moving, let's try and make it move a bit. Shaking it up like this. Okay, time to check in. Okay, let's do this lung stretch again. Okay, if it was a little bit obstructed before, it should feel nice and warm and a lot more open. Oh, yes, great. Breathing is important. Okay, now it's time for the heart protector or the pericardium channel. That's this one that goes from the chest. We're going down the middle of the inside of the arm. We're aiming for this middle finger here. We're doubling back along the outside of the arms. Okay, good. One more. And again, I'm doing the same thing as I did with the lungs. Anything that feels really good, like it's releasing here. I'm paying a little bit more attention to it. It's just down the middle of the inside of the arm here. Very good. Very good. And the other side. Oh, so we're right along the top part of the chest here. Along inside of the arm. And the other side. Okay, very good. So this is the pericardium channel, or the heart protector channel. Very good for just any kind of real emotional stress that affects the upper, can affect the breathing sometimes when you get this sort of feeling, ooh, constriction here. And this is a really great channel to work. One of my favorites. Okay, so now let's just check in. Let's do one stretch. And just see if this feels any easier, just even with a few minutes of doing. Well, no, I know mine does. It feels much more like open and more space here, okay? And that's what we want. We want it to be like a mist. We want that upper burner to be like a mist, nice and open and nice and cool. Okay, so finally we've got the heart channel that goes down into the little finger. I want to be a little bit more gentle with this one because it's a bit of a sensitive channel. So we're just going to do it a few times, just lightly tapping. Again, I'm tuning in right the way from the chest into this area here. I'm going to keep the breathing nice and calm and regulated, because we now know that there's a big connection between the nervous system and the heart rate and the breathing. So we want to just keep the breathing nice and relaxed. I'm just going to be tapping down here towards the finger here. Okay, and then brushing off. Same thing this side, opening up the channel. It goes right down here, down into the little finger. Coming back up this swan testing channel, that's the yang channel, just to provide a loop for us so we can get back and do the inside channel all the way to the little finger. Very good. Okay, so we just do one more, keeping it nice and calm, nice and light, relaxing this whole area as we do it, keeping the breathing nice and calm. Very good. Okay, shaking out those arms, keeping that egg in our armpit. Got a bit of a big egg this now. Look, I've got an ostrich egg. Okay, check this out. We're going to bring the hands up again like this. Tune into the upper burner and just gently press the fingertips back. Okay, notice it's a little bit easier now, a little bit easier to open up those armpits and get the stretch back. So if you've got upper burner issues, if you're feeling a little bit panicky and stuff like that, I would recommend starting off with the lower abdominal breathing exercises. Get kidney 1 connected to the earth, and then just spend 5-10 minutes a day on these yin channels of the arm, the lung, the heart protector, and the heart. And that's going to open this whole area up, and it's going to make you feel a lot more calm and a lot more in control of everything. Okay, so you've just got like 5 minutes left to make sure we sort out those yang channels in the head and the neck, going down. We've done most of them, so we just need to make sure we keep the head and the face really relaxed. We've done a really good job on the feet. Okay, but it's always important to do the head because various reasons. One of them is because we need to keep the smiling muscles working because they affect the vagal nerve. And the other thing is we get a lot of tension in the face. We've found that out with the jaw already. So let's just do some self-shiatsu on the face. We're just going to smooth out the forehead. Smooth out our forehead. Just gently pressing in. Okay, how about just gently pressing around the eyes? So you can actually gently press onto the eyes with your eyes closed. Surprising how much tension you can actually hold around your actual eyes when you get stressed. This is a really good place to work. We just tap and we're just pressing around the actual orbit of the eye, just becoming aware of any tension around there. And then around the cheekbones, underneath the cheekbones. Ooh, lovely. And right round, if we go around this way, we get back to those points we started with on the jaw, all around here. Very important points for the jaw all around here, really worth checking out. Okay, now I'm going around the lower jaw. My thumbs underneath here around the tongue. My fingertips here around the lower teeth. And that's a really good way, again, of relaxing the jaw. Okay, now you remember right at the beginning when we did the body scan, we brought our attention to the back, the sides, and the front of the neck. Remember that? I don't know if you can remember what it felt like. And I can still now remember the difference between the back and the front of my neck. So what we're going to do now is just tap over the top of the head and tap the sides of the head. And we're activating the bladder channel, which runs all the way down here, runs all the way down the back to bladder 23. Point of the week, everyone, bladder 23, the kidney shoe point. And it goes right down onto the feet. We'll be tracing the rest of the channel and the next few weeks as we finish the water element cycle. Okay, we get down to here. And now let's just do a little bit of work on the neck. Really important area to work. We've basically got the back, the side, and the front. Okay, so let's make sure we release the back of the neck. This is really important because it's place where we often will get obstruction. It can cause headaches and all kinds of things. Remember last week we explored celestial pillar, bladder 10, this really awesome point. Really worth checking in with this point again. And again, if you just gently press into this point just on the outside edge of the trapezius muscle here and really relax your whole back, you can often feel a connection all the way down the back, right down into bladder 23 and also down into the sacrum. It's actually a point that's used to treat the lower back. So let's just make sure we squeeze that point and squeeze down the back of the neck. Okay, if that's too uncomfortable for you, you can do it like this, using your fingertips. Whoa, okay. Okay, and then if we move more into the sides of the neck, we've got the gallbladder channel, which is not so much here, it's more where this big indentation is here. It goes down in this groove here, and we can encompass that whole area with this back of the SCM muscle. Can you see that? This back bit here, this whole area here, it's really worth giving that a good squeeze, or if that's uncomfortable for you, use your fingertips, or you can even tap it if you want. If you've got a lot of obstruction, you can tap it with your fingertips. Just do whichever feels best. Once you start going down here, it's really important to release the upper part of the shoulders, because that's where the channel runs. It runs down here onto the tops of the shoulders. It's really good idea to do that. Just tap around the tops of the shoulders and then brush off down the arms. Yeah. Later on in the cycle, we'll be doing some really, really exciting points all around here, points that we use all the time in Shiatsu, and you can use them yourself as well. They're really, really useful point. So here we go, sides down onto the shoulders and down. Excellent. Which just leaves the front and then we'll be done. Okay, so what I like to do is actually get hold of the SCM muscle. That's this big muscle here. You can't really miss it. It goes right up into the behind the ear here. I'm just going to give that a bit of a squeeze. Oh. Because the vagal nerve runs close to here. We want to make sure that this is nice and relaxed. If you've got any tension, obstruction here, that can often go up and cause headaches in front of the face because the channels run up into the forehead and into the eyes this way. So a good idea to get that relaxed and released. Okay, brilliant. Wow. We're done. We just need to shake that out and then we'll be done. So going back to the standing position, or you can just be sitting, just wiping off the face and the neck, and then wiping down the arms. Let's just finish off with a final shake to connect everything up. So relaxing the jaw, shaking down the body, right down into the feet. Remember, we opened up kidney 1, so we've got that connection with the earth. Making a few sounds. And okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Wow, I tell you what, I feel very different. So let's scan down through our body again, through the head, through the jaw, through the neck, through the shoulders, down the arms, through the chest area, checking out the upper heater, through the middle of the body, checking out the middle heater, through into the lower heater, okay, and then down through the legs and down into the feet. Okay, so just ask yourself, what's your total energy like? Have a look at the pictures that you drew at the beginning, just 1 hour ago, and just compare that with how you feel now. And I'll just run the final poll just to see how we've done as a group. How do you feel now? Let's hear it. Do you feel more balanced, about the same, or less balanced? And if you feel less balanced, that can happen, especially if you've got obstruction, I would say, because obstruction can sometimes release and cause energy to move up the body. It usually finishes, usually only very temporary. If you get any ongoing things, just give us send us an email or give us a call and we'll help you out individually. Okay, it can be a good thing actually if you do feel movement, if you've got a lot of stagnation. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. Still, most of you feel more balanced. Okay, if you feel about the same, I just encourage you to do these exercises every day until next Wednesday. Thank you very much, Kat, for being on the chat. And yeah, and thank you everyone for being on it. I'm just going to put a heart in the chat before we close up. Excellent. Yeah, it's a very stressful time. You may need to do the exercises daily for the next week, and just keep working at it. And let's all just keep nice and balanced and nicely chilled out. Okay. Bye. See you next Wednesday. Bye. Thank you so much, Kat.